Hi there, it's Jeff Cooke again. Now, hopefully you've already seen my video on comparing two budget guitars, two budget Les Pauls. Over here, we have one of those Les Pauls. This guitar here is the Epiphone Les Paul 1960 Tribute Plus. Okay, now there was a couple of things I really liked about this guitar, which won it out on the other guitar for me. One was the Gibson USA pickups, something that obviously not all Epiphones have. In the neck position we got the classic 57 pickup, and in the bridge position we got the classic 57 Plus, slightly more output than the 57. Okay, the other thing is the series parallel switching that we've got here. It's kind of similar to a coil tap, but maybe a little bit brighter, fuller in sound. Maybe not brighter, not the right word for it. Anyway, I really enjoy that combination. Later on we'll go through the sound combinations again, but there's a reason why we're looking at this guitar again, and it's related to these pickups. I like these pickups so much that I wanted to put them in my old main guitar. Now this guitar was my main guitar for over 10 years playing professionally, and it's had a lot of wear. It's a bit battered, but it is a beautiful guitar. It's got probably the best neck I've ever played. It's got a great action, really low. It's got a great trem system. It's not locking, but it does stay in tune as long as you don't go crazy with it. And it's also got a wide variety of tones on it. We have the old-fashioned, they don't do this anymore I don't believe, a 5-way pickup selector. So we have neck position coil tapped, both pickups on, bridge position coil tapped, and then bridge full humbucker. Now that's great. However, I find these pickups, for one thing, a little bit oversaturated, a bit more compressed than I'd like. I've really fallen in love with the Gibson 57s. They have a really open sound. You can hear the attack in them. There's a lot of dynamics. I feel we kind of lose that a little bit with these old PRS pickups. I don't know what the PRS pickups are like now, but these old particular ones on this guitar are not quite to my taste. One of the other things about those pickups is when you go to the out of phase, the coil tapped positions, they sound a little bit harsh and brittle. We're going to see that in a minute, just to my ears anyway. This is just taste, so you can do what you like, of course, with your own guitars, but this is my experiment. I want to see if I can put the Gibson 57s in here and get the similar kind of sound that I want out of this guitar, similar to that, but with a much better playing guitar. Okay. One of the other problems with this guitar, of course, is this 5-way selector is a nightmare to get the middle positions quickly. The number of times I've gone past the position that I wanted to is, I can't count them anymore. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch this out for a 3-way switch. Now you might think that limits me to only bridge pickup, both pickups, or neck, but if we make these two pots push-pull, we can also have the series parallel switching that we had with the Les Paul there. Okay, is this going to work? That'll be an interesting test. We're going to see. But first, we'll go through the sounds as they are on this guitar. We'll go through the sounds as they are once we change the pickups on this. And then we'll also compare it to how the Epiphone sounds. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so we're looking at this PRS CE24. It's an American model, and we're going to go through the sounds. Now this is actually being played through a Marshall JCM 2000 through a Tuba 12 cab. And we've got a microphone about 6 inches away from the speaker, slightly off centre. I'm saying this because we're going to have to do exactly the same thing when I redo it with the new pickups on. So let's go through the pickup selections. So at the moment we're on the neck pickup. Now on the amp I've got a slightly driven sound. What I've always liked to do with guitars with coil splitting or with parallel series switching is to flick to the coil tap position, and that cleans up the slightly driven sound to almost clean. Now this is one of the things I was talking about with the PRS. When I put it on this sound, it's got a slightly harsh edge to it. I'll go back to the neck pickup. Now that's a better sound in my opinion, but it's now slightly more overdriven than I want it to be in order to play this kind of. Okay, I'm going to swap this over for the Epiphone Les Paul and do a similar kind of thing. Okay, here's the Epiphone Les Paul. Now this is the neck position. That's a little bit warmer, I think, already. But when we go to the series parallel switching, we pull it out. Now this is still cleaning up. But it doesn't have that brittle edge that we had before. Let's compare again to the PRS. Some people might like that more. But I prefer this. Yeah, that's altogether better to my ears. You may disagree, but there you go. Okay, next position. Okay, now that we should have both pickups on. I'm just going to check that. Yeah. Now this is one of the things I was talking about with this pickup selector. You don't always know where you are. That's not a bad sound, I like that one. That's quite good because that's quite Fendery in tone. And yet that's two humbucking pickups working together. Yeah, I'm just checking that. Let's compare that to the two pickups on the Epiphone Les Paul. We've got some interesting combinations now because what you can have on the Epiphone Les Paul that you couldn't have with that is you've got one pickup out of phase, one pickup in phase, and both pickups on. Yeah, you can't do that with that one. It's a position we don't get. So let's try both pickups on humbucking. try just the bridge out. Again, an interesting position. And again, one that we can't do on the PRS because of the selections. Now, are we going to be able to do that on the PRS? I think we are. I think we're going to have the same number of combinations there as we had on the Les Paul here. Okay? That'll be interesting. Okay. And now the bridge on the Epiphone. Let's do it the other way around this time. That's a good slightly driven sound. That's basically the sound of the amp just cranking over a little bit. Okay, let's try that on the PRS. Okay, that's not a bad sound at all. One of the interesting possibilities here, of course, is that if I like the bridge sound of this better than I like the bridge sound of the Classic 57 Plus, I can always change that back later. But we'll see what other combinations we got on here. Okay, next with some high gain sounds. Okay, this is kind of my general lead sound. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, clearly I'm not going to be able to do that on the Les Paul, but let's have a listen to that. Okay, Les Paul high gain sound. Okay, I don't know whether you can hear that, but there's actually a bit more mid-range honk in that. One of the things about that, maybe when you listen to it on its own, you maybe don't like it as much as you like the sound of this. But one thing you'll notice when you play it with a band is that mid-range honk cuts through. So if you play this guitar, it's going to sound cool in a band situation because it really cuts through the mix. Whereas this one, if you don't have enough level, you might get a little bit lost in that mix. It's not so bad for me because I play in a three-piece. There's no other guitars or keyboards or anything else going on, so I just kind of sing over the top of it, or the guitar sings over the top of it. But, you know, in a band situation, can be an important thing. Now, the interesting question is, how much of that is the pickup, and how much of that is the guitar itself? This is one of the things we're going to find out when we change over. Okay, so next time you see me, we're going to be looking at this guitar with Gibson pickups in it. Probably you can't see that. This guitar, the PRS, with the Gibson pickups in there. Okay? And it's going to be an experiment for me and for you. I don't know how it's going to turn out yet. I love this guitar. If it doesn't work 100%, maybe we'll change back, I don't know. But we'll see. There's nothing like trying things out to find out. Catch you later.